Hi everybody, it's me again. I'm back. Yeah. Alright, in this video, I'm here to do the first of a series of Smallville season reviews. Here, I'm going to review the first season of Smallville, the one that started it all. Yeah, this season's old. Like, it began way back in 2001, like, just months after 9/11 happened. There's kind of, they felt, the world needs a hero now, and they figured, deliver one to us, and, and that's when, after, like, a month after a big national tragedy happened, to give us, Smallville, the birth and the origins of the greatest superhero in the world, greatest hero in the world, Superman. Yeah. So yeah, getting on to it, like, the pilot episode was a good little setup, bringing little baby Kal-El in the little, this little ship, when they crash landed in the town called Smallville. It was all peaceful and everything, and then the day the meteor shower happened. Started as sort of an origin story, for some of the major characters in the series. We got baby Kal-El, who's eventually named Clark. His parents, how they found him, and then when the meteors hit, causing the town, ravaging the town, causing the death of Lana's parents, and how Lex was there. You guys, how he was bald, and then Lionel, and all that. So yeah. Overall, the first season, was a little. I mean, there's kind of some things. I mean, it was a good little setup. There were some things that kind of sort of held it back. That thing the network kind of restricted the writers. But some of which was later in season 2. Overall, it was like kind of got a good little setup for some of the major characters like Clark, Lana, Lex. Setting up their little stories, as well as his parents and everything. Although one thing that kind of was a little, how should I say this, was a little, like, maybe lacking was sort of the supporting characters, or like the second fiddles, as it were. Like, well, Chloe Sullivan, and Pete, who was a bit of an underrated, somewhat unused character at the time. And then we have the character Whitney Fordman, the typical football jock. He strung Clark up on a scarecrow like this, and because in the hazing, he was a bit one-dimensional, kind of. His only purpose was, just as a wall between Clark and Lana. That whole, like, little, just love, there was sort of a love triangle there. Lana's the girl everyone wants, the girl next door, the unattainable love interest, as it were. And then we have the jock, the jerk, whatever, the guy gets in the way, and everything, and all that. And Clark, sort of the underdog, and all that. So, but yeah, that whole was a little, I don't know, kind of stale a little bit. But it was alright. It showed, kind of had, at the same time, Clark was starting to discover who he is, his abilities and who he was, and everything, and starting to take initiative, becoming friends with Lana. And then, Chloe, and becoming a little friendship, with him, Lana, Chloe, and Pete, a little high school group right there, and everything. So, but yeah. And also, another thing we had was that was good, was what I think was probably what shined, and was probably kind of biased away. Well, I think a lot of people can agree with Lex. He's pretty much a fan favorite, my favorite, man, because his character is probably the most complex out of everyone. And I think, like, over the years, like, and particularly, like, the writers kind of enjoyed writing for him. Like, we had, here we have Clark's parents, they're all loving and caring, whereas, and everything, where he has his father, Lionel, who was like a recurring character in this season. We saw him every so often. He took a rather different approach to parenting, much more, like, more of a, I guess, not more, I would say a tough love, but the way he did it, he kind of took it as more like a step further than a tough love, like, kind of like, as in, pretty much pushed his son to pretty much, like, to pretty much force his son to become the man he wanted him to be, pretty much a man in his own likeness, his image. A guy, he's all powerful, he's got this big corporate empire known as Luthor Corp. He wants his son to pretty much show no weakness, show no compassion, and be very Machiavellian-like and very Nietzsche, a very Machiavellian businessman. What Lex, it pretty much becomes what he is in the comics. Gave a little dimension, and started to give a little dimension inside to Lex that hadn't been seen before in the character. which I liked a lot. He's what made him formidable. He stood on his own. Like, he's a very Machiavellian villain. What he becomes later, he serves the steps. He's all a mastermind. He's becomes from the world of the rich and everything. He's got everything. I mean, he's got a castle. He's got a Scottish castle that was shipped all the way from Scotland in the middle of Kansas. Reconstructed stone by stone. If someone could like take a freaking castle, big Scottish old castle, and like ship it all the way in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of Kansas, and have it reconstructed stone by stone, and pretty much have it as a mansion, a place to live. I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean that says it all right there. And and another setup what was very common was with the meteor freaks, as it were. Sort of introduced that concept of that, which are individuals affected by the kryptonite, which are called meteor freaks, and they get special powers and everything. In a sense, they served as adversaries for Clark. Almost every week or almost every episode, they were like the villain of the week or the freak of the week, as they were dubbed. So basically, each one has certain powers. They demonstrated the monsters within themselves. Like in one episode, they had Bug Boy, like when a guy who's like kind of like Spider-Man in the sense he climbed on walls and he like spit out web from his mouth, which is a little weird and all that. What's another one we had? Like a girl who pretty much kind of ate people, or rather like just sucked the fat out of them, who's actually played by Amy Adams, before she was famous. So, and a lot of people, I mean, she ended up sucking the fat out of a deer, which is like crazy. And what else? And then this season wasn't so much was sort of a setup, then it kind of wasn't so much focused on character development, more so like, I guess they have the freak of the week thing, showing off powers and all that they had some side stories like with Lex, and they had this girl, Victoria Hardwick, it's like played by Kelly Brook, who is amazingly hot and everything, like who basically she played like a girl who came from who was a long time friend of Lex's, who came from a wealthy background and everything. And they're basically like she and Lex are in this game trying to take each other's businesses, and eventually her dad and Lex's dad were and everything, and basically Lex went out in the end and everything, and then we saw basically Lex also became interested in Clark, because when they met in the pilot, he ended up running his car off a bridge and hitting Clark, and Clark saved his life, and that's how it began. And Lex is pretty much the same first person whom he ever saved his life, and later they become enemies, which is kind of ironic there, and everything. And they had a little character development. Clark and Lex, their friendship starting and everything, and Clark showing Lex a different side, a side that Lex hadn't seen before, a less corrupt side, more kind of innocent, modest, naive, if you will, and the start of the town. He didn't feel like he fit in. He felt like he could try and fit in starting with the Kent family. Of course, Jonathan Kent didn't really like Lex too much, or his dad, or the Luthers for that matter. I mean, there's, for various reasons, Luther family's known for buying people off and everything, and well, Martha tried to, sway Jonathan to show that, and everything. But what I can say is, it was an alright beginning to the show. It was, I mean, there was some of it, it kind of lacked in some plots, but it's enjoyable for what it's worth. It really is. Like, particularly episodes, like one episode I think are Zero, which is an episode solely on Lex's background. See, Rogue is another one. See, the pilot's one to start on. Nicodemus is entertaining, and then we have the finale, which involves a tornado and a reporter trying to finding out about Clark's secrets, so which eventually happens, and then everything. We have Lionel kind of stepping in more. We see eventually. What's funny is the actor who played Lionel, John Glover, was only gonna have like a minor role, but eventually his role got expanded, all for the better, and everything. And then see Whitney was kind of was a little bit, like a bit one-dimensional eventually, and everything. Eventually he was written out of the series, so, and then afterwards, he was gone, so, and then, yeah, overall, and it was alright season, it was good for what it's worth. It's a good start, good way to have everything, sort of a good setup, as it were, but then later, later on it kind of gradually gets better. Like I'll do a review of next season. I'll go into more detail on that. So, but yeah. Anyway, alright, that's it for me. And like, look for me next time and doing the review of the second season of Smallville. And I'll see you all then. Bye.